Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We'll give everyone just a few minutes to get logged in as we get started. Excited to be here today to talk all about golf. I'm sure a number of folks have golf tournament planning coming up. If you're joining us and have a golf tournament in the works, let us know where your tournament's going to be and when your tournament's going to be. Drop a note in the chat, say hello, let us know a little bit about when and where your golf tournament is. As we get started, I'm gonna just kick us off with a little bit of business, just so everyone knows what to anticipate. So first, I want to make sure that everyone knows that today's webinar is being recorded, and we will have this launched for you later today. We will send an email out to all attendees by tomorrow with a link to today's webinar. You can find it also where all of our webinars live on our homepage, so feel free to scan that QR code if you want to be able to get to those, but we will send you an email. We also have our Fundraising Elevator podcast. We hope that you'll tune in and join us, and we hope that you'll join us next month. We're going to be diving into the auction data report with One Cause as a part of our webinar series. But today's webinar is with GolfStatus. We're joined by Logan Foote, who's here from Lincoln, Nebraska, where it's going to be 100 degrees this weekend. Logan, I'm sorry you have to deal with that already. But it sounds like we have lots of 100-degreers out there. Look at this. We have folks in Sedona, Arizona that are planning golf tournaments. We have Rochester, New York. We have a tentative date in Alberta, Canada. Rachel, thanks for tuning in with us. As you get logged in, drop a little note about where you're tuning in and when and where your golf tournament is. I'm going to go ahead and kick things over to Logan to dive into all that we need to know and prep for our upcoming golf tournament. Logan, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Samantha. Thanks again for having me on. Always love doing these webinars with you. And thank you, everyone, for taking some time and spending it with me this afternoon. Fortunately, I was born and raised here in Nebraska, so I'm very used to the 100-degree weather. So nothing new for me. But today, too far ahead there, just to give you a little bit of a roadmap on what to expect in today's session. Really, we're going to go over kind of the 5 big tips for you for planning a charity golf tournament. So we'll start with understanding the tournament planning basics. Just kind of go over some of the basic points to getting started and what to focus on. Then we'll look at building a win-win sponsorship strategy. Those of you who are new to planning golf tournaments, sponsorships are where you're going to make the most money when putting on a golf event. So we want to help you put together a win-win strategy that will really help you entice potential sponsors to come on board for your golf event. We'll go over how you can market your event like a pro, how you can maximize the revenue at your golf event, and then how can you best effectively manage the event day. Then we will have time at the end for a Q&A session. Samantha will interrupt me if any questions come across the chat during the session. So I'm more than happy to answer those live, but I will try to leave 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the session to do any Q&A that may be left. And if anyone does not get their question answered, my contact information will be on the screen at the end. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. But we are going to have a few poll questions. So our first one is, have you ever planned a golf tournament before? I'd like to kind of get a feel for the experience level in the room. Yes, no. Are you currently in the midst of planning one? What would best describe you?
Well, results are coming in, and we have a really even split going on. It looks like we have about half of our guests have said yes and about half have said no, and 6 of our guests are currently planning one.
Fantastic. That's kind of typically what I see in a lot of these sessions. Is it's usually a pretty even split. Oh yeah, there it is. So most of you have planned one before, and 6 of you are currently planning one. 4 of you have not, but regardless, hopefully you walk away with some really great insights in today's session to help you with an event you're planning now or an event you may plan in the future. So let's look at our tip number 1 here, understanding the tournament planning basics. And one of the things I always like to lead off in these sessions, and kind of the myths I like to debunk, is golf knowledge is absolutely not required. It's really important to note that you really don't need to have knowledge or experience in the game of golf in order to hold a successful golf fundraiser. There are tools, technology available to you to help. There have been many nonprofit organizers that I've worked with, our company has worked with. They put on big, successful golf fundraising events. And the organizers of those events are not golfers. They have no plans to be golfers. They have no interest in watching golf on TV or attending professional golf tournaments, but they know how to put on a successful event, and they leverage the tools that are available to them to make the golf specific items of the golf event much more easier on them. Um, One thing I also like to note is golf is really an incredibly valuable fundraising tool. There's really no fundraising event quite like a golf tournament. You get really 5+ focus hours to connect with donors, supporters through an activity that most of them genuinely enjoy. And having that much time with them is really rare. I always say a quick golf tournament is 4 hours. Really, most golf tournaments are going to be 5, sometimes even 6 hours. So that's a lot of time you can use to really spend time with your donors, your sponsors, your supporters, have those face-to-face conversations, build those relationships. So you can really have a high potential for some great ROI for nonprofits through the golf tournament. And golf tournaments allow you to accomplish multiple goals as well. So you can raise dollars, raise awareness about your cause. You can attract high value donors as well as high value sponsors. You can broaden your donor base. You can build and advance relationships. Golf tournaments can do all of these things. And now, as we kind of jump into a quick rundown of tournament planning tasks, I did want to mention timeframes before we do that. Is you truly don't need as much time as you think you do. We've worked with organizations that plan an event in a short period of time, and they are still able to pull it off, attract enough golfers and sponsors. Now, while planning ahead is the best idea, if you can give yourself a lot of time, that's fantastic. You can start planning a golf event anywhere from that 2 to 6 months out. So I'd say that's the typical turnaround time we see with a lot of people running golf events. But one of the first things you want to do when planning your golf event is you want to outline and set your goals. So you really want to think about what you want to accomplish. The questions that are important to ask yourself are, what's the primary thing you want to get out of the golf event? What else do you hope to accomplish? How much money do you hope to raise? What will the proceeds be used for? How will you determine if the event is a success? So ask yourself those questions, answer them for you, and they will kind of help you, kind of with some of the initial planning items you have to lay out for yourself, and really will help you probably inform your decision making on a lot of various items you'll have to decide on throughout the planning process. Next, you want to look at determining your budget. So typical expenses for a golf event, your largest one will be, the golf facility itself, including, your green fees, cart fees, if you're including range balls, if you're utilizing the golf facility's banquet space, if there's any service fees or gratuity expected, food and beverage costs will also come into play, player sponsor gifts, prizes, marketing materials, your signage, your typical sources of revenue to hopefully cover those costs will be your golfer registration fees. Most of the time, the fee your golfers are planning to host or to participate in the event will cover the fee that you're getting charged from the golf course. So a good thing to help with pricing your golfers is determine how much the golf course is going to charge you per golfer, and then make your registration per golfer a little bit higher than that price. So you can cover the golf course fee. But other sources of revenue can include add-ons you can sell, like mulligans, raffle ticket sales, on-course contests or games. If you want to run an auction alongside your golf tournament, if you can procure some really valuable, enticing auction items, collecting just straight donations as well. But like I said earlier, the largest source of revenue for your golf tournament will be your sponsorships. That is a huge piece to putting on a successful golf event. And GolfStatus does have a sample budget spreadsheet in our online resource library at golfstatus.com. We have a lot of free resources you can download, but that sample budget spreadsheet, it can be very helpful if you're someone that is new to this or maybe struggling to kind of outline your budget. That can definitely be a big help to you. Next thing you want to look at is forming a planning team. So determine who will help, how they'll contribute. And this could be the staff you have with you at your nonprofit, your board, a group of volunteers. We typically say a good number of people to include in a committee is about 5 to 10 people. I think is a good average number. Too many, it's a lot of people to wrangle. You might not have enough tasks for all of them, and too few people can easily get overwhelmed, burned out if they have to do too much. So usually, I like to see that 5 to 10 number range is a good amount of people for your planning team. The next thing you want to do is choose a date and golf facility. So consider your audience and goals when choosing between a public golf course or a private golf course or even a semi-private golf course. Obviously, your public golf course, even your semi-private golf course will likely be a little bit cheaper for you, whereas your private club will be more expensive. But the private club could be a nice draw to get more people to actually participate in the event if they get the chance to play a golf course that they otherwise don't have access to. Whereas, the public golf course probably a little more flexible on dates and also not as expensive. But you also want to consider the time of year. So the weather, any other local events that might be happening on those same dates. So keep all of that in mind when choosing that golf course as well as the date to hold your event. Then the next thing you want to do is launch your event website, and this is a really a must-have for success. This will save you a lot of time. It'll make the promotion of the event so much easier. You want to make sure that it includes online registration with secure payment processing. One of the biggest headaches we hear consistently from people who come to GolfStatus to help organize their event is they were allowing people to sign up for the golf event but not pay. And that led them to have to deal with a lot of no-shows the day of the tournament, tracking people down who did show up but hadn't paid yet. So they were stuck doing all of these tedious tasks, all of this accounting, instead of actually getting out and having those face-to-face relationship building conversations with folks at their golf tournament. So this is a must-have. I cannot emphasize how much time this will save you before, during, and after the tournament. Then once you have that event website, you want to build and sell your team and sponsorship packages. So list them on the event site where folks can purchase a package, submit all the necessary information that you need from them in one step. You can track all your golfer, sponsor, and payment information in one place with online registration. And when it comes to your sponsorships, we'll get into those in more detail later, but this also makes it easier for you to onboard your sponsors as well, getting them in, paid, and collecting all of the information you need from them. And then market the tournament. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in a few minutes, but one thing to note here is that all marketing should direct people to your event website. That is the call to action, and all of your promotion is that event website. Whether you want to golf in the event, you want to sponsor the event, you want to make a simple donation, maybe you just want to learn about the tournament, you've maybe never heard of this nonprofit before, you want to get on the website and say, oh, where's this golf tournament? Why are they raising money? What's their mission? Everything should direct back to that centralized event website where they can learn anything and everything about the event and take action, whether that's donating, signing up, sponsoring, whatever it may be. And next, you want to finalize the details. Things like touching base with the vendors you're working with, coordinating with the golf facility, coordinating with all of your volunteers you have signed up to help you on the day of, sharing updates and schedules with participants, as well as keeping people engaged and excited about the upcoming tournament. That's so important. And then next is holding that great event. Being organized, prepared goes a really long way toward a successful tournament. As soon as the tournament is over, debrief with your planning team and follow up with the golfers and sponsors. And we get the question, how can I separate my event from other golf events? And this is one of the things I always focus on is being organized and making sure the event runs smoothly. That from the moment golfers arrive at the golf course, everything is buttoned up, runs very smoothly. They're able to get through registration very well, knew exactly where their cart was, knew exactly where they needed to go, where they needed to be. They had a great time. Focus on the player experience and running a well organized, well run event is a big part of that. And I think that'll make golfers feel good that they came out to that event. They had a great time. It was all well run, and they're more likely to come back and want to be a part of it again next year. So now let's move on to tip number 2, building a win-win sponsorship strategy. So your sponsorship should be a win for your nonprofit and the sponsoring businesses. So obviously, you get the financial or in-kind support and build that relationship with the sponsors. But the sponsors or the businesses get broad exposure, positive PR, brand lift, and engagement with an audience that they really can't reach anywhere. The golfer demographic is a very valuable demographic that a lot of businesses want to get their brand in front of. So sponsorships are where you'll raise that all that money from your tournament. Most of that is going to come from some sponsorship. So let's look at some best practices. So first off, you really want to create a sponsorship for your hard costs. So think about the hard costs that will be associated with your tournament and try to create some packages that will help cover those costs, if not cover them completely, but also provides you with a little bit of revenue on top of that. So you should offer packages at varying price points so businesses of all sizes and budgets can get involved. I love when I see an event that has a lot of different sponsorship offerings that really opens you up to working with really the most amount of businesses in your area, from the large corporations all the way down to maybe the small locally owned businesses. Give everyone the opportunity to hop in and be a part of it. But you want to provide enough ROI to justify the sponsor's investment. So your packages should offer benefits that reflect the price of the package, the caliber of the tournament, as well as the quality of the host golf facility. So, including teams and high dollar packages is a great way to add value to fill your tournament's field. I love when I see tournaments do this, and actually the highest dollar tournaments, some of the most successful tournaments, don't even sell individual team registrations at all. All of their teams come from the sponsors that they sell. So obviously, if you're new to this, or is your maybe your second or third year golf event, this is probably not something that you can pull off. But maybe a long term goal to work towards is that you get so good at selling sponsorships that you don't even sell teams by themselves anymore. You get all your teams from the sponsors that you bring on board. Next is add digital exposure for every sponsorship package. Digital exposure has zero cost to your tournament, and it adds a ton of value to your sponsorship packages. Sponsors get really a lot more great visibility and exposure from digital channels like your event website, like a mobile app for live scoring, push notifications, live leaderboards, you know, dedicated social media posts. So find those opportunities to include those digital exposure points because again, they don't cost you anything, but they make the sponsor look great and they give them more exposure, more impressions. So it's a free way for you to up the value of your sponsorship packages. And then work with sponsors to help accomplish their goals. For some sponsors and for a lot of sponsors, supporting your nonprofit might not be enough of a reason for them to come on board and support the event. Others might be interested in straight up exposure. Others may want access to your registration list of golfers so they can market to them. Others may want to engage golfers on the golf course. So as you pitch to sponsors, don't be afraid to ask them what they're most interested in, and create custom packages that kind of help them meet their needs. Don't be afraid to ask them. When you sit down with them, say, hey, when you are looking to sponsor events or charity events, golf events, what do you look for? What do you want to get out of it? Ask them that in the pitch, and they'll tell you. And then work with them to tailor some packages you have to meet those needs. And then list all your sponsorship packages on your event website. This lets sponsors browse packages, see benefits, price points, commit with just a few clicks. So your tournament management software should have the ability to collect logos when sponsors are signing up, as well as messaging right at registration, and then auto populate that on the event website. That way, as soon as they sign up, they're gathering those instant impressions. And this is a huge time saver for you as well as the sponsor, so they can start earning those impressions right away. But also, we see a lot of back and forth with between tournament organizer and sponsors a lot. Going back and forth, collecting logos, messaging, assets, any other things that you may need from them. So if you have a technology platform that helps you collect all of that as they're signing up, that can be a huge time saver for both you and the sponsor. All right. So continuing on with the best practices, when it comes to identifying potential sponsors, you want to first create a prospect list and really identify some potential connections. So this is a list of who you'll target for sponsorships. It should include your nonprofits, vendors, partners, local businesses, even larger companies in your area. And once you have that list created, identify any connections or ins that you can leverage to help make contact. So you have someone on your staff, on your board, one of your volunteers that knows someone who works at the business, or knows someone who knows someone that works at the business. Use any of those connections you can to get your foot in the door, and hopefully, at the very least, get a meeting set up to kind of discuss the opportunities you have available. And then you want to develop talking points for your planning team. So it's helpful to provide talking points or templates for your planning team to make sure the sponsor outreach is as easy as it can be, particularly for those who aren't usually in sales. So this could be phone call scripts, email templates that really outline the key points about your tournament and why businesses should get involved. What are the benefits that sponsoring your tournament provides to them? This will help make sure that that messaging is consistent amongst everyone you have out there trying to sell sponsorships. And like I said, it can be a huge help to those people who aren't used to selling. And you want to leverage in-kind donations and sponsorships as well. So not all businesses are able to provide monetary support, but in-kind donations and sponsorships can be just as valuable. So utilize these for auction items, pin prizes, raffle prizes, contest prizes, even golfer gifts if you want to include any in-kind donations and golfer swag bags. You might even use in-kind donations to offset costs, like food and beverage, for example. So if a business isn't able to support financially, see if there's anything they can donate to your event in terms of prizes or services even.
Logan, we had a couple questions that I wanted to jump in with real quick.
Yeah.
One was from a attendee before they registered for or before they logged in during their
Hmm.
registration. They asked about types of businesses they should be targeting for their sponsors. Sounds like they have a new tournament. They're looking to solicit new folks who are not involved in their other fundraising events. What types of sponsors should they be targeting for their tournament?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And there is a resource in our resource library that has a long list of typical businesses that we see sponsor golf events a lot of the time. So definitely check that out. But um, you want to look at businesses like real estate agents, insurance agents, dentists, banks. I was talking about Samantha before we launched this webinar. We had a first year tournament work with us. She didn't have really any connections to sponsors that she could leverage to sell her sponsorships, but she ended up selling 5 different sponsorships to 5 different banks. So hit up all of your banks in your area. They likely have a budget for sponsoring events. We also have an event that our marketing team runs. They sold 3 different sponsorships to 3 different dentists as well. So, you know, we all have connections to those types of people in our life, our real estate agents, our insurance agents, our dentists, our where we do our banking, our lawyer, our doctor. So everyone can hit all of those folks up. As a good starting point. And then when it comes to golf events, really good fits are sporting goods stores, or even if you have golf specific equipment stores as well. But restaurants, bars, um, especially if you have a bar in proximity to the golf course that you can think a lot of the golfers might go after the tournament's done. Like there's a bar here in my hometown of Lincoln. That's actually my favorite bar. It is right down the street from one of the public golf courses, and they sponsor golf events all the time because they know they put their name on it. Well, a lot of those golfers are going to drive down the street to them after the golf event's done. So that's a few good examples I would have for you. But like I said, we have a resource in our resource library that gives you a long list of potential sponsors to target.
Great. I will find that resource and drop it in the chat. I also added in the chat the sample sponsorship package, which is an incredible resource. So hopefully folks click on that and download that. We also
Perfect.
have one other sponsorship question about, do you have any suggestions about pricing, looking at sponsorships based on that per golfer cost?
Yeah. So when it comes to pricing your sponsorship packages, is what they're curious about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you want to obviously consider the caliber of your event, and also you want to look at what your fundraising goal is. So if your fundraising goal for the golf tournament is, let's say, $20,000, don't put your title sponsor at $20,000 and try to raise that all in one go. I mean, you could do that, but it's not very realistic, most likely. So consider what your fundraising goal is. Consider what you're charging for per team to play in the event, and kind of go from there. And we even have some different sponsorship levels, we examples of that in our resource library, I believe. But let's say your fundraising goal is $20,000. Maybe put a title sponsor anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000, maybe a little less than that, and then kind of work down from there and have a bunch of different options available all the way down to a whole sponsor who just gets the whole sign on the tee box for 100, $200. So uh, consider I mean, obviously you could price sponsorships in many different ways, but I would say those are the things you want to look at as good indicators of kind of what range you should be in, what's your fundraising goal, and what are you charging your golfers to participate. So you have a good idea of which sponsorship packages can I include a team in with the golf event, which sponsorship shouldn't I include, but always have a nice long list of diverse options so that way you can uh, have options for your larger businesses that have budgets for these things, as well as your smaller businesses and everywhere in between.
I will add those resources in the chat, and thanks for answering those, Logan.
Yeah, no problem. After we just talked about leveraging in-kind donations, next thing you want to do, report back after the tournament. So help sponsors understand the impact of their support and how you kept your promises, how you delivered on everything that you said you would. One of the cool things you can do, I think sponsors really appreciate and enjoy, is create a sponsor fulfillment report that outlines the tournament's outcomes and details how you fulfilled the benefits promised in their sponsorship packages. This really helps maintain a relationship with the sponsors, and also can be used as an opener for next year's pitch, kind of get them on board, or even at the least just thinking about supporting next year's event. You don't have to do this for every single sponsor. You certainly can, but definitely for your higher dollar sponsors, I think this goes a long way with them and really validating their investment in your golf tournament. They can see exactly you delivered everything you said you would. You're telling them how you use their money to kind of support your mission, so you can show those specific impact numbers. And I love it as an icebreaker to kind of start the conversation about next year's tournament, or even getting them more involved with some other fundraising events that you have in your fundraising calendar. Let's move on to tip number 3: market your event like a pro. So I said this earlier, but all of your promotion should link back to your event website. Where people can learn more about the event, they can learn more about your nonprofit, what you're raising money for, and register, make a donation, whatever it may be, in just a few clicks. Even if you're doing any printed promotion, you can still generate a QR code that people hit with their phone and jumps them right to that event website. So you want to also leverage cost-effective marketing channels. So I'm thinking about email marketing, social media are really great low-cost options to reach your audience with information about the upcoming golf tournament. You want to really determine a strategy for your email blast as well as your social media posts, so you're not spamming folks, you're not hitting them all the time, but you're still keeping your tournament top of mind with folks as much as possible. Another option is taking advantage of the Google Ad Grant, which provides $10,000 in free advertising each month for qualifying nonprofits. We've actually done a webinar with Getting Attention, who's very helpful with getting your Google Ad Grant set up. So definitely check that out. But $10,000 and free advertising per month, I mean, that goes a long way. So definitely take advantage of that if you are not already. But also use your personal contacts. So challenge your staff, your board, your planning team to reach out to 5 to 10 contacts about planning the event or about sponsoring the golf tournament. Reach out with a personal phone call or an email to a strategic contacts in your donor database, such as a past sponsor, golfers, participants in other fundraising events. Challenge those folks you have on your staff, and then hold them accountable. Constantly check in with their progress, see how things are going, see where maybe they could use some help. But put that out in front of them. That's a good reachable goal that they can work toward, and it can really help you hit the ground running to get the word out and get some golfers registered and hopefully get some sponsors on board as well. And then connect with partners and sponsors that you have got on board. They have access to likely new audiences, folks that you haven't been able to get in front of, and make it easy for them to really spread the word by providing them some talking points, some canned social media posts, graphics, so they can copy and paste into their channels. I love when people are able to kind of leverage the sponsors they have been able to bring on board. Say, hey, thank you so much for being a sponsor. Could you also help us get the word out to your audience about this tournament? They're usually they'll be more than happy to do that, because I think that'll help give them even more brand lift. As we said, one of the benefits they receive when sponsoring a charity golf tournament, they can go out and tell the world, "Hey, I'm sponsoring this charity. You should hop on board and play or sponsor as well. Here's what they're doing. Here's what they're raising money for. Here's more about their nonprofit." It can just help get the word out there a little bit more for you. And use your community outlets as well. So tap into outlets like event boards, community calendars, or other similar outlets to list your event and link to your event website. You might post flyers in community gathering spots, grocery stores, coffee shops, libraries, community centers, gyms, even the host golf facility. Obviously, a great place to promote your tournament. And make sure all of those things have a QR code. Again, links back to your event website. And you can also connect with your local media outlets as well. So send press releases to local radio, television stations, and newspapers, with information about your tournament. Really try to exhaust all of your options to help get the word out there about your event, so as many people see it as possible. Now let's move on to tip number 4: maximizing revenue. So one of the great things about golf tournaments is they come with a ton of opportunities to raise some additional funds, and I'm going to touch base on a few of them. So first and foremost, your high value sponsorships. Obviously, like I've said a couple times, this is where you're going to make the most money. This is where you're going to maximize a lot of revenue. So get creative with your sponsorships. Add some options that are high value, high dollar. You want to have that top sponsor every single time, the title, presenting, gold sponsor, whatever you want to call it. Some ideas can include a pin flag sponsorship. They get the logo on every single flag on the golf course. A hole-in-one sponsorship. If you want to do a hole-in-one contest, they could be the person who's on the tee box talking to people and watching them as they try to get a hole-in-one to win a prize. More often than not, it's a cash prize. Or at GolfStatus, we offer what we call our technology sponsorship, which our events are basically selling the exposure offered within our platform to a sponsor, which includes exposure on the website, on the live leaderboards, on all the printed scorecards and cart signs within our mobile app for live scoring. So very broad exposure. So we have a lot of events that include that with their high level sponsorship because they get so much exposure. So think about how can I create a really cool high value sponsorship that can be my title, my presenting sponsor. Also, when it comes to maximize revenue, you want to think about things like add-ons. So you're not going to make as much money per purchase, but you can sell a lot of these things that can really add up in the end. So things like mulligans. And if you're new to golf, you don't know what a mulligan is. It's a redo. So if you're playing in a golf tournament, you hit a bad shot, I'm going to take a mulligan. I'm going to redo that shot. Almost all charity golf tournaments will sell mulligans to teams. And believe me when I tell you, just about every team will buy at least one, if not 5, 10, 15, even 20 sometimes. So a very popular add-on to sell with your golf tournament. um, but also on-course games are another fantastic option. So these are things that add a lot of fun to your golf tournament, and the options really can be endless. So we've seen golf ball cannons machines. So instead of hitting your tee shot with your golf club as you usually would, you load a golf ball into an air cannon and you fire it, and that's your drive for the hole. I actually just played an event a few weeks ago where I shot my very first air cannon, which was it was really cool. So that's a fun way, and you can have golfers pay to do that. You can include that as part of their registration. Also, Wheel of Fortune is another fun one. I've seen this work a couple different ways, but one of my favorite ways is basically they have a wheel. They have every club in your bag on the wheel. You spin the wheel, and then you have to play the entire hole with whatever club comes on you hit. So if you hit and you hit your 8 iron, you have to play with your 8 iron the entire hole. Again, there are probably multiple ways you can do that, but that's one of the ways that I've seen the Wheel of Fortune used. Blind putt, another one. You get on the green, you got to put on blinding goggles to hit your putt. That's a really fun one. But again, the options really here are really endless. There's so many cool things you can do with on-course games for your golf tournament, and you can sell individual game entries, or you can do an all-in games package where your golfers are purchasing all of the entries into all the games you have in one discounted bundle.
Logan, is there a limit to how many games there should be? Like, is there such a thing as too many games on the golf
Good
course?
question. Yes, you don't want to do too many because then it gets it could take the round could take a while, and then the pace of play could really slow down. Golf events can take a long time, but you don't want them to take too long to where you're out there for like 7+ hours. So you want to find that balance. Usually, I'd say a couple contests per 9 holes. So you got a couple contests on the front nine, a couple contests on the back nine is usually a good balance.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, really good question. And then lastly, contests. Another great option. You can sell a sponsorship to cover costs like a hole-in-one contest. You can include participation in and registration for the contest, or you can charge an additional entry fee depending on what the type of contest is. One of the cool other contests I've seen run as a good example, I think it's become more popular in recent years, is if you're able to procure a lot of cool items like, I don't know, fancy bottles of wine, liquor, golf balls, cool towels, even a golf club. What they do is they take all those items, they go to the practice screen and they put them in various spots on the practice screen. And then you have to hit a putt that's like 20, 30 feet away. And if you're able to hit one of those items with your putt, you get to keep it. So that's a kind of a fun game to do as well. Not really one that you can use to raise money if you charge entries into it, but also golfers really look forward to that, and I've seen that become way more popular here in recent years. Kind of finishing up on maximizing revenue, strategic donation asks. So you obviously want to have some asks throughout the day. Now you don't want to be too intrusive, so your ask should be strategic, well timed. Not intrude on the golfer's round. But what I've seen become popular as well is a donation station. So having those kind of at different places throughout the golf course, kind of placing a QR code that links to your event website on the course, um, where people can easily shoot that, make a quick donation. Setting a day of fundraising goal is also really good. So you can keep your golfers constantly up to date. It's like, hey, we have this day of fundraising goal. We only need X amount more dollars to hit it. Help us hit that. And also, I've seen a lot of golf events kind of encourage folks to donate their final score after they play. So if as a team they were able to shoot a 72, say, hey, donate $72 back to the event. So those are some really good ideas of how you can have those donation asks strategically placed and timed throughout the day of the event. Raffles, very popular with with golf tournaments, with a lot of just fundraising events in general. Obviously, if you're able to procure a lot of donated prizes, raffles can be really great money makers that are no cost to you. You can get them donated. So you can sell tickets at registration, offer additional ticket purchases the day of the event, before, during, even after the tournament. Raffle tickets can be included as prizes as well. For on-course games or for finishing first, second, or third in the tournament. But really great option to, if you can get some raffle items. That can be a great way to raise a little bit more money for your event. Similar to raffles, auctions also are popular. So if you can procure some really cool auction items, there's some costs running an auction, but not as much. So silent auctions tend to work really well with golf tournaments. So folks can kind of go over, put their bid in before and even during the round, as well as after the round, and you can announce winners. Use an online bidding platform. Let's golfers place bids before, during, and after the round. So if you want to use some technology there, that can be a big time saver. So people can bid on things while they're on the golf course. So whatever is a better fit for you, if you can run an auction alongside your golf tournament, that could be very effective, and especially if you can get some really great items your golfers will be excited about. Next, let's move on to our final tip: effectively managing event day. So your event management tech plays really a major role here in executing a successful tournament. So you want to use your event website really as an event day guide. So add essential information like the schedule, parking information, driving range availability, food and beverage availability. Um, Format details, any plans in case there's inclement weather. What's your plan B? What's your backup plan? As well as live scoring information. If you are live scoring the event, have instructions there so folks know how to get into the tournament on their mobile device. Then you want to create day of add-on packages so you can drive additional revenue the day of the tournament by having packages ready to go for things like your raffle tickets, your mulligans, game entries, any other day of extras. List those on your website. Post a QR code to be present in person so that people can quickly make a purchase really without having to hassle with cash. It'll make that whole line flow a lot easier. And live scoring the tournament. You want to use a reliable, easy to use platform. This lets golfers keep up with standings, easily enter their score they got on each hole as they play throughout the day. Um, and live scoring is another great exposure point for your sponsors as well. If you can display logos in the app on the live leaderboard, that's something that one of your high dollar sponsors will likely want. So definitely consider using live scoring. It's really fun for the golfers, but also from a logistics standpoint, it allows you to calculate results a lot quicker. So instead of collecting everyone's paper scorecards and kind of putting together results from those, the software will do all that for you, and you're just kind of confirming what people entered into the app with what they wrote down on their paper card. Get the results quicker and get to whatever items you have in your post tournament plans a lot faster. And then have your reports ready. So your event management platform should come with some pre-formatted printouts that you can just easily print. You want to have an alpha list for easy golfer check-in, printed scorecards. If you aren't offering live scoring, even if you are doing live scoring, I still encourage to utilize printed scorecards in tandem with that. Like I said, it's good to have a confirmation of what was entered in the app with what was wrote down on the paper card. Your cart signs, your rule sheets, if you need that whole assignment sheet, all these are things you'll need, especially that's what the golf facility staff will need. That's what they'll look for to help get the event set up day of for you. That'll help keep them organized as well. So make sure you have all of those at the ready for the day of your tournament. Then you want to coordinate with your volunteers. So make sure your volunteers know their assignments and are equipped with the supplies that they need. They be sure to communicate with them ahead of time and that they have your contact information. So if they do run into any sticking points or have any questions, they can easily get a hold of you. You can resolve any issues that maybe they run into, and stay organized. Event day can be chaotic. No matter how prepared you are, there may be a thing or two that pop up that you weren't expecting. So, especially as golfers kind of start to arrive, so make sure you have all your ducks in a row and a way to access your management platforms back in case you do need to find anything, in case you do need to make any updates. So be prepared for that, and have plans for inclement weather. Unfortunately, one of the things that we can't control with a golf tournament is the weather that pops up that day. So hopefully, cross your fingers, you get a nice day. But you want to stay up to date on forecasts leading up to the tournament, and have a plan if severe weather does threaten your event. So good thing to do is work with the golf facility to kind of create a contingency plan just in case there is bad weather. If when you sign your contract for the golf course, I just ask like, hey, if I get rained out, what can I have a plan B date? Can I move it a month or 2 months later in the year. Can I have that date as a plan B in case bad weather comes? And they'll let you know. Most of them will allow you to have a plan B, but just ask the question so you can be ready. Then you want to assemble your supplies ahead of time. So make a checklist of everything you'll need from the registration table supplies to signage to trophies if you're giving out trophies, and have everything ready to go a day or two before event day. That way you'll have less stress, less hassle, and you'll be able to identify if you're missing anything. Hopefully before event day actually rolls around, and then make the rounds. This is a big part. This helps you build in time for you to drive around the course, connect with folks, your golfers, your sponsors, say thank you to them for their support, learn a little bit more about them. Build those relationships. That's one of the big benefits that I talked about earlier that golf tournaments provide. You get that time to really spend with them face to face, and put a face to a name, thank them in person. You're gonna thank them in a follow up message in some way, shape, or form. But thanking them in person of the day can also go a long way and make them feel good about the fact that they took time out of their lives to be at your golf event and support your nonprofit. So we're gonna end here with our last poll question of the day. How likely are you to hold a golf tournament in the next 12 months? Are you maybe thinking about it? Probably, definitely, or as you were maybe in the beginning, you're one of the six that are already in the weeds of golf tournament planning. So I'll give you a quick sec to answer that question.
I see poll answers coming in, and we generally have everyone already in the midst of planning one. We'll give it just another minute for final answers to come in. I have a couple of maybes, no probablys or definitelys yet. I'll end the poll here and share the results.
Wow, 11 already planning one. Fantastic to see. A couple maybes. That's totally fine though. So great to see that the vast majority of you here are already planning one. Hopefully you walked away with some great insights here today. Before we jump to the Q&A, I did want to kind of just briefly go over how we at GolfStatus can help with your golf tournament. We are a golf event management company. Our event software is tailored specifically for golf tournaments. We really pride ourselves on two big benefits that we provide to events, which is we want to help you save as much time as possible, as well as raise as much money as possible. So we estimate that we save about 40 plus hours per tournament that we work with in labor. So we have built-in tools and automations that can save you a lot of time. We can simplify and automate registration with secure payment processing, easily collect all the donor data that you need to collect when folks are registering, allow you to easily collaborate with your team as well as the golf facility, as well as handle all the golf specific details. Our software was designed to handle those really the specific nuances you'll run into with a golf event that you won't run into with any other type of event that you'll put on. So, the scoring of the event, uh, flights, formats, the custom printouts that you'll need, be able to do the whole assignments. If you're running a handicapped event, we can easily work with golf handicaps as well. So all the golf specific details we can easily handle. But we also make it very simple for you to attract more participants. So we provide that easy event promotion through our custom mobile friendly event websites that we can build for your tournament. We make sharing the event really as easy as sharing a link, make really the registration process as simple and as painless as possible so that folks can easily come onto your event website, learn about the event, and commit and pay in just a few clicks. And we want to help you put on a more fun, professional event. The software really helps keep you organized so you can focus on the overall tournament experience. We do offer free live scoring and live leaderboards. We do have a hole in one contest packages we can offer your tournament, as well as help you with an auction if you are putting on an auction in tandem with your golf tournament. And then, like I said, we want to help you raise as much money as you possibly can. We do have some exclusive sponsorships that we offer to our clients, including our technology sponsorship I mentioned earlier, where you are selling the exposure within our platform to a sponsor. But we do those hole in one contests. We can do custom pin flags for your event for our clients that we see take advantage of all three of these exclusive add-ons. We've seen them raising an extra $10,000 or more in sponsorship revenue that they didn't have the year before, which is really cool for us to see. We can easily collect donations and share progress toward a day of fundraising goal. And we also offer robust reporting to get the golfer donor information into your organization's donor database, so you can continue to steward those folks forward and hopefully turn them into consistent supporters of your nonprofit. And then we have our Golf for Good program. So what this is it's really a give back initiative that allows us to provide no cost access to our technology to 501c organizations, or really any organization out there doing social good, doing good in their community. We can get get you in and get you started with our software for nothing up front at all. We also have a fantastic industry leading support team. So when you come on with GolfStatus, you will have a dedicated client success rep assigned to you. They will work with you from beginning to end on your tournament. They'll be at your constant beck and call. But we also have a live chat that you can reach us as well. Uh, that team is incredibly responsive. They're all in house with us, and they know the software like the back of their hand, and they also know golf tournaments. We, as part of that team as well, you'll have access to a fundraising specialist who can meet with you, kind of brainstorm different fundraising ideas if you're kind of stuck or want to add something new to your tournament. We work with thousands of golf tournaments every year, so these guys have seen a lot of things from golf events that they can likely relate to you to maybe give you an idea of what you can incorporate into your golf tournament to bring in some more money for your event. Uh, but as I've mentioned throughout this session, we also have our online resource library. This is chock full of case studies, white papers, how-to guides, templates. All these are free to download. I know Samantha's dropped a few of those resources I mentioned already, but go to that library, check it out. We also have our Golf for Good blog as well, which covers the latest in golf fundraising, some tips, some more case studies, some lessons learned. So really, wherever you are in your golf tournament planning journey, we probably have a resource for you that can help you out if there is something that maybe you need a little bit of help with. So check those things out. Like I said, all of it is free, and we just want to help you as much as possible and help help you make sure your golf event is as successful as it possibly can be, and so you can do it year over year. But with that, we'll head on over to a Q&A and answer any questions that are out there.
Well, I have a couple of questions that have come in, and I want to encourage folks, if you have any additional questions, feel free to add them in the Q&A or in the chat. Logan, the last slide that you had up about GolfStatus itself might actually answer two of these questions, but I want to tap into those because they kind of feel topical to what you were just talking about. The first one was specifically about like collecting donations on the golf course. The question was, are folks using text to give for golf course asks? Does the platform do something like that, like a text, like within the app that they can make a donation?
Within our app, you can link to your event website where there is a donate button that you can utilize. We don't actually do text to give ourselves, but we do a vendor that we work with that we can refer you to if that is of interest to you. Obviously, that's a very effective strategy, but we can link back to your event website within our app, yes, where they can find that donate button.
And then the other question had to do with revenue generators. This is a question that came in before your presentation about the golf course is handling our planning logistics and has asked us to manage our revenue generators. What revenue generators should we be adding to our tournament?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, the add-ons I mentioned earlier, like selling, if you're doing a raffle, selling raffle tickets or selling mulligans, and then also your on-course contests as well. So if you're doing a hole-in-one contest and you want to charge an entry for that, or a putting contest is another popular one, you set that up on the practice screen and kind of charge people if they want to see if they can win a prize by making a really long putt. Another popular revenue generator is kind of bringing out there are companies that will bring out professional long drivers or even professional golfers. They'll do like a beat the pro, or you can pay to have the long driver hit your drive for you. I mean, these guys will hit it out there like 300-400 yards sometimes. So some fun things like that. So I think, yeah, what they're getting at is you're going to manage all the things on course or day of that can produce some more revenue for your tournament while they handle the logistics of making, getting golf carts set up, making sure golfers know where they're going and the scoring and things like that.
We have one other app question. Is the GolfStatus app available to use in Canada?
Yes, it is. We actually work with a number of Canadian events, so we love our Canadians. So yes, we can use it. We actually pull our golf course info from a third party database that has the majority of golf courses in the world. But if for whatever reason you run into a golf course that we don't have into our app, basically you just let us know and we can add it really quickly.
That is amazing. Well, we have a couple of other questions that came in beforehand. One having to do with a meal offering at the event. The question was just, should we add a dinner component to our to our golf tournament?
Yeah,
Gala dinner.
It's a really great option. If the golf facility you're utilizing has that banquet space, and obviously if your golf event is going to finish up around that typical dinner time of 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, I think it's a really great option, especially if you want to kind of take the time to thank folks. If you have a kind of a reward ceremony you want to do while people are eating, I think it's definitely a good option, especially if you feel the timing's right and you have the space to do it. I think it's if you can kind of prolong the event with the dinner to have people kind of spend more time with you. Maybe you have some other revenue generating ideas you can utilize within the dinner itself. Yeah, absolutely do it. I think it's a great idea.
And Stephanie, I would add to that too. I often have found that because our work personally at Swipe Strategies is in the gala world, that's where we're able to tap on that like bigger programming, storytelling component. So if we're able to get like a focus audience all seated together, although in our last webinar that we had a few months ago with you, Logan, we talked about the importance of timing and that
Hmm.
after a long day on the golf course, folks are tired. So you don't want to add another 4 hour gala, but that like 1 hour cool, get people seated in a shady, cool place, get a
No,
meal in their hand and have kind of a short program that allows you to tell your story can be really impactful.
yeah, it's a good
Um,
opportunity to weave in that cost connection. I like that point.
the question that we have right now in the chat from Daisha is about if GolfStatus as a tool is something they would use alongside their traditional event registration software like Greater Giving.
Yeah, if you're happy with Greater Giving and the registration tool, you absolutely can. I mean, we do things. We can do live scoring, we can do hole-in-one contest, custom pin flags. You can still sell a technology sponsorship by utilizing our mobile app. So, if you are happy with utilizing a registration tool through Greater Giving, yes, you can still absolutely use our tool in tandem.
There's also a question about golf course fees. This person says, I'm new to planning. Can you give me an approximate range of fees from the golf course?
Yeah, it'll vary. Like I said, depending on the type of the golf facility you're utilizing. So a public course obviously won't charge you as much as a private course. And this is actually what will help you decide how you're going to price your team registrations, your individual golfer registration. But each golf course will tell you what they will charge you per golfer. I guess to give you an example, playing uh, at a public course here, this is a regional example in the Midwest. It'll probably cost me anywhere between, and this is just going out and playing every day. This isn't playing in a tournament. This is just what the golf course typically charges a golfer who goes out and plays their golf course on a given weekday or weekend. It'll probably cost me anywhere between 50, 60 plus dollars to play 18 holes of golf with a cart. So I'm guessing that'll probably be the range on a public golf course. Obviously, a private golf course will be a lot more expensive, but when you contact golf courses to get their availability, just ask them, what do you charge per golfer, and they'll tell you.
Yeah, I've seen in the Northwest right now a lot is we're averaging around 150, but mostly on private courses.
Yes. Yep.
Um, there's two other questions that came in. One about day of event volunteers. Do you have any sample of a volunteer list or needs or jobs that you would engage volunteers for on the day of the event?
Yeah, we've done a webinar about volunteers, so there are definitely resources in there. I don't know if we have one that covers like specific tasks that you need them to do. Off the top of my head, big things are, if you have any contests on site that you want to make sure people understand the rules. You need people to run contests. You likely want people kind of directing golfers where to go when they first arrive, as well as where to hand in any scorecard stuff like that at the end of the tournament. And if you have any things like donation stations or want to take that opportunity to educate folks on the golf course about your nonprofit, what you're doing, having volunteers running that. But really, you just want to think through the day and put yourself in the shoes of a golfer, and making sure how do I know where I'm supposed to be, or if there's a certain point that maybe they won't understand what's going on. Uh, those are where you need to station volunteers. For a good example is an event I played in a couple weeks ago. There was a particular hole where we weren't actually teeing off from the typical tee boxes. The tee markers were way up in the fairway. It's just how they were doing that particular hole. There wasn't a volunteer there, so we actually one of our golfers hit from the original tee boxes, and then we kind of figured out afterwards, oh, we need to drive up there. So that would have been a good spot to have a volunteer, like, or at least a sign, like, hey, you need to go up to the tee markers that are up in the fairway. So kind of think about where maybe those um, points will be in the event where you can have maybe some confusion or maybe where you want volunteer station to make sure golfers flow through the event nicely.
There is a question that just came in the chat about that webinar about volunteers. I'm going to drop it here for you, Jennifer, so you can get access to that. Additionally, I just want to reemphasize what Logan just said about the traffic flow. That's always how we plan our volunteer needs for galas too, is just to think of how do we keep holding the hand of the participant to make sure it's easy to navigate. So anywhere we think there might be confusion, anywhere that we might need direction about where we're going next, that's where we would always have a volunteer at the ready. The last question that I have in our chat here is a question about prizes and awards. So Dacia says, I have one more question. What are the common prizes and awards for first, second, and third place teams or longest drive? I always find that this is the hardest thing to procure.
Yeah, it's a good question. Obviously, you can just go straight cash if you want. If you have events do that. Most of the events that I play in that go cash, they guilt trip the winners into donating that cash back to the charity, which is always fun. But other things, if you want to, produce a trophy as well, I've seen trophies handed out. Prizes can be really anything from, some custom apparel, golf balls, golf gloves. I mean, you want to think about things that golfers really like or really need. And if I, for a good example is I one time played an event where they gave away this a stick with a little umbrella that you put in your bag that covers your clubs if it rains. Well, every golf bag that's sold comes with a club cover with it, so I don't really have use for that. But if something like a cool custom head cover or golf balls or things like that, like I'm going to need that, or even just a gift card to the golf shop. Maybe the golf shop will give you a discount on price of a gift card, something like that. So I think those are popular contest winners outside of cash and actual trophies to plan. Those are the most common things I see given away to first, second, third prizes.
Yeah, I think the first, second, and third prizes don't always have to be something totally fancy. They can be just a
No.
recognition. But I do think if you're using an incentive or a prize as a revenue generator, you could also take a look at some of the consignment tools that are out there and procure or buy a low cost travel package. So like auction packages is one of our partners, Windspire. They all have low cost trips that you could engage them for if you're using that as like a raffle or a prize at a hole-in-one competition or something like that. So if procurement's hard, you could always look to consignment as well.
Golfers love a good golf trip.
Absolutely. Well, Logan, thank you so much for all your insights and your time today. I want to encourage folks to reach out to GolfStatus. As Logan said, they have so many resources available both on their website and available through their tech support line. These resources are where I go when I have questions for our organization. So I always appreciate the knowledge and the volume of work you all are doing in this sector. So thank you for bringing your expertise to the stage today. And we will be sure to provide these links that we shared today of all of these resources in the recording when we send that out, and we will get that to you by tomorrow. We thank you all for joining us. And Logan, thank you for sharing with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Have a great day, everyone.